Now that we have set up our VST connections, let's record some audio. Open the example project number 14, Basic Recording. This project already has a bass and some drums recorded, so now we can lay down a guitar. Let's add a mono track by right-clicking and selecting Add Audio Track. For now, we're going to ignore the Browse button and click Add Track. Let's name our track Guitar Solo and select the audio input that we're using. In the previous chapter on VST connections, I created a mono input using input channel number 3 on my audio card. I've renamed this guitar. I now have a guitar plugged into channel 3, ready to record. Now let's click on the monitor button to hear the guitar. You may need to have a mixer or some kind of preamp attached to your audio card, since many audio cards don't have this functionality. You would need a preamp because the guitar signal is too low and needs to be boosted in order to be heard properly. The same thing applies to microphones. When you have the right amount of volume coming in, you can see the levels on the track. Now click where it says No Track Preset. This opens up the Apply Track Preset window and allows us to preview track presets in real time. Let's pick this one and then close the window. You may have noticed that the Show Active Inserts light has turned on. This is because when we added the track preset, it added the insert effects. Let's click on Inserts to see the effects we now have activated. We'll talk more about effects in Level 2 of this tutorial series. Click on the first tab in the inspector to get what we were looking at before. Your next step is to get the tracks ready to record. This is done by clicking on the Record Enable button. This may have already been turned on. There's an option under the Preferences window in the Editing submenu under Project and Mixer that allows you to enable record on selected tracks. I like to have this turned off, or else the Record Enable button will change tracks on you as you select another track. Now when I switch tracks, the Record Enable button is staying on the guitar solo track instead of switching to the new track. Now we can just hit the Record button in the transport and begin recording. But we should mention one other thing: input faders. Call up the mixer under the Devices menu or press F3. Make sure the Hide Inputs channel button is not highlighted so we can see the inputs. These are the inputs that you made in the VST Connections window in the VST Connections chapter. All of these buttons will be explained in the upcoming videos on the mixer, but I'll let you know that you can record the audio from your sound card dry, meaning whatever comes in gets recorded unchanged, or you can add some EQ or effects and record it, as we say, wet. We've already added some insert effects when we picked a track preset, but these are on the actual track and not the input. They're running in real time and are not affecting the recorded signal. The recorded signal is still our dry guitar sound. Here's the input that we are recording into. We can click the E button to call up the VST instrument channel settings. We can add effect inserts or change the EQ. This means I can EQ the bass out of my guitar before I record it, or I can put a compressor or a limiter on it. Generally, you will want to record dry, and you probably won't want to use this feature, but it does allow for advanced tweaking on input recording. Just remember, anything that you do on this fader can't be undone later. Okay, enough of that. Let's get recording. Make sure cycle is turned off, unless you want to do loop recording. Make sure the pre-count is on so you know where to come in. Press rewind, and now the record button. Press stop and turn off the Record Enable and Monitor buttons. Let's listen back to what we've just recorded. And that's it for basic recording. Continue on to the next chapter recording details.